Hey YouTubers, Colo, the original Maliho here. Today we are back in Chia and I am going to just give you a quick tutorial on how to set up a harvester machine and also troubleshoot some problems that I was having and not finding answers for. That seemed like other people were also having problems with the Chia harvester setup. So you can see here we're at chia.net. This is where you would download and install your blockchain. You would click on the appropriate settings. I'm using Windows, and so that's what this tutorial is going to follow is the Windows setup. Your other steps are going to be similar. You just have to be familiar with those commands in the PowerShells or Linux commands. So you would click here to download your Windows one. We already have Chia installed on this computer, so I'm going to assume that you click this button, you've installed the Chia blockchain. When the GUI pops up, you actually don't have to do anything further with the GUI. You can close it right away because we're going to be doing everything in the PowerShell as far as setting up the harvester. Go ahead and close this window. Also fun FYI, why we are doing Chia, we are also, because Chia is processor and hard drive intensive, it does not use any of your GPU, so you can run your GPU separately here and mine Ethereum or Kapow or any other algorithm you want from your GPU, and that's what I'm doing. All my harvesters node are running simultaneously GPUs that are harvesting other cryptocurrencies while they are also harvesting Chia for me. So let's go ahead and just get down to the basics. The first thing we're going to do is we are going to open up here in Windows. The first thing I want to do is we're going to need to copy our CA folder from our Chia node. So the easiest way that I find that to do is I'm just map the drive directly to my harvester machine. I like using the Y drive because it's not going to interfere as I add other hard drives here. And so we are just going to share that on our machine, on our node. You can see here, this is the path that is going to get me there. Let's see. Nope, I did something wrong there. I think I clicked the cancel as opposed to so let's map our drive. Oh, never mind, it's already there because I guess it was already shared. You can see here there's my private keys, drive Y. That's going to make life easier as we go ahead and get into this. So first thing we're going to do to make sure that folder is empty, we are going to go to our users. We're going to choose our username. We are then Chia mainnet and config file. Now, where I was experiencing, I was following all the steps in the GitHub and reading questions and answers and following all that. And I could not figure out why my harvester was not talking to my node. It was driving me bananas. I mean, absolutely bananas. So we want to make sure that happens, and this is how I found out a way of fixing that. But first I remembered, let's do this first. On our harvester, we're going to need at least one plot to verify that. So while we're going to start this, I am going to go over here and grab one of these plots and throw it over to this harvester machine, one of my most recent plots. Just go ahead and cut that. I'm going to go to my drive D, paste that there. That way it'll start right into that drive while we're working over here. And hopefully by the time we're ready, that plot will be moved. It shouldn't take that long. So where were we? All right. So yeah, I was experiencing a lot of problems and I kept updating the config file like it was telling me in the GitHub and getting nowhere. And so something I found that helped me get past that error is when I get here and I get to my mainnet, I just actually right here, I just hit the delete button. I said, I want to delete that mainnet. Empty my recycling bin because I like everything nice and clean. So now that that's done, I'm going to go back here and I'm going to go, I'm in my user. I need to view hidden items. go to my app data, local, Chia blockchain, resources, get to our Damien folder. Right here, we're going to shift right click and we're going to open the PowerShell. Very first thing we're going to do is we are going to tell our Chia to initialize. And this is going to tell us, hey, this is new. Can't find private CA, creating a new one. Okay, actually that's not new. That's exactly what I wanted to do. It created that. Our next thing, we need to remember how we created that shortcut for our certificates from our node. Now we're going to get our node to sign off on our security certificate. So we're again going to use a very similar command, but now we're going to use our C command right there. And this is why I made it a network drive, because it makes life much easier. I'm just going to reference that network drive, and it's going to bring over my certificates. That was easy. Our next step is we need to configure our harvester to talk to our Chia node. So to do that, we're going to again come back here, but we're not going to use that. We're going to configure -- we're going to set -farmer -peer, and then right here is where we put our IP address and port. If you do not know what your IP address is, you can go to your node machine, open up the command prompt, type in ipconfig, and you want to find, I'm going to assume you're using Ethernet, because wireless network, the lag, it would be ridiculous and you wouldn't harvest Chia on a wireless network. And you want to grab that local IP. It usually is going to start with 192, and that's actually 168 right there. So that's my Chia node local IP. Then I'm going to put a colon here, and I'm going to do port 8447, and that's the default Chia port for a harvester to talk to the node. You can change that, but that's for a different video. That's more work, but we're just going to set up this harvester here. Farm peer updated. That was the problem I was having before, where it kept saying weird things like unknown, unexpected argument. It wouldn't update my config file. When I updated my config file manually, it wouldn't work. So like I said, if I just by starting over, deleting that main net folder, and then doing an initialize, so it regenerates everything, importing my security certificates, now I've told it where the farmer is. That's all beautiful. I'm ready to go here. This is a point right here where you can add your mnemonic keys if you want. That does make it less secure, because really your mnemonic keys should only be stored on your node. You can store them on individual harvesters, but that makes it more of a security risk. We're not going to do that. We are actually at a point where we're ready to go ahead and start this harvester, but the first thing I want to do is make sure that that plot has come over. Moving 100 gigabytes may take some time, so we're at 30% now. I'm going to just wait it out here the next few minutes. I'm going to move this where I can see it. Move it here. I'm going to wait out for that plot to move over to my directory. And actually I can do that right now. I can create some plots. So we want to tell our harvester where to look for these plots. I just installed in this harvester 2 new drives, 2 14 terabyte drives, and we're going to go ahead and quickly add those to our harvester to tell it where to look. So the first thing we do is Chia plots, then we're going to tell it to add, and we need to tell the directory. And the directory, first directory I added was D, and then my second directory is E. Nothing fancy there. So we have now added our directory D and E to our harvester. So that's where it's going to know to look for. And as you see, I'm moving one plot over to my D directory from a shared drive that I have out on the network, and that way I will know once I start my harvester that it is talking and communicating with my node. Okay, we are back. We just finished moving that, and we will double check that. We'll go over to our D drive. You can see we do have the one plot here, all 106 gigs sitting right there. So we know we have at least one plot in our directories. So we're ready to start our harvester. To do that, we just type in our Chia start harvest. If I can spell, we would type it in right the first time. Start harvester, and we're going to spacebar -R. Hit the button, sit and wait a few seconds. It's not started. Starting. Wonderful. It has now started. How do we know that it is talking to our node? Good question. Let's go over to our node and see if we can now see this harvester on that node. Okay, here we are. We're on our node. I actually run the GUI in the node because I like seeing it. You can see that I am plotting here on the harvester as we are also farming here as well. So first thing you want, I do this real quick just to refresh my GUI. We can check out our plots here. We can see the number of plots, but what we want to do is go over here to this farm. And you can see right here, yes, my harvester just connected because now I can see I have 3 harvesters happening right now. Here's the harvester right here with the one plot we just created. Here, this is my node with 685 plots, and this is another harvester with 44 plots. That's just today. I just created that harvester earlier today. It's one of my faster plotting machines, so we've already got 44 plots on that one. And if we scroll down here just to double check, we can hit this little button to show advanced options, and we come down here even further and we say, okay, this is my Chia node right here. We know that because of the host name. That is an internal IP address. That's not a public IP address. It's not even on our private network IP address. That is referring to your local host. So you don't ever want to use that IP address when you're trying to connect to your node. You can see here, here's the harvester that we created earlier today that has 44 plots on it currently. And then here's the harvester we just connected moments ago. So you can see we now have 3 harvesters working, so we should be harvesting that Chia faster. It's good to have lots of plots, but it's also good to have harvesters to harvest those multiple plots. I'm going to continue setting up my machines. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Maybe I answered some of your questions. I had trouble finding answers on how to get the harvesters to talk to my node, but I eventually got it figured out, and I wanted to share it with you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, smash that subscribe button. I'll be putting out more videos. The more I know, the more you'll know. Until I see you again, Colo signing off.